Welcome to TNT. Our first guest had their work cut out for them, so to speak, because they are indeed a part of WrestleMania, and the Tag Team Championship is going to be up for grabs, as a matter of fact, as they square off against the British Bulldogs. There will be not one, but there will be two referees. This, of course, emanating from Chicago. We'll have more on that in a moment. Right now, would you please welcome our first guest, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Brutus Beefcake, along with Luscious Johnny Valiant, their manager. Have a seat, if you would, please.
All right. Right down.
But, what's that in your mouth there, Mr. Valiant?
Oh, just a wooden object there.
You're not going to light yourself on fire or anything, are you? It looks like
No, I'm
match.
certainly not going to, but I'll tell you what, speaking of fires, I know they had the Chicago fire several years back. The exact date escapes me, but I'll tell you what.
That's because you failed History 101.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. History's going to be made on the 7th of April up there, because that's going to be the last American appearance for the British Bulldogs, because my dream team right here, Valentine and Beefcake, is going to annihilate the two Limeys, and the match is going to last about 5 minutes, and I'm going to make a prediction right here on TNT. About 5 minutes, Vince.
About 5 minutes.
5 minutes, maybe 4.5. No more than 5 minutes.
Of course, you are keenly aware that the Valentine and Beefcake have been defeated in the past in a non-title matchup.
Greg had the flu that day, and Beefcake was so jet-lagged. I told you about it, and I told you about that. And now something else while I have the opportunity right here in the TNT. I want to say that the thing of the two referees is really sour grapes as far as I am concerned. I want to know the significance of these two referees.
Well,
are they that worried that they need two referees?
We will take you now to some footage of Valentine and Beefcake, and maybe that will explain why we're going to have two referees. Here we go now with the footage. We'll join it in progress.
Valentine in there with one of the premier wrestlers, Scott McGee. Now, this young man could get the job done, Scott McGee.
No doubt about it. Scott McGee with that classic European style.
Jim Powers in there winding up the hammer.
Jim Powers is no slouch. I'll tell you, the champions are in for a good match here, McMahon. I tell it like it is.
You tell it as you see it, Jesse. That's not necessarily
Which is like it is. Which is like it is. I'm called Mr. Ratings Points now.
Oh, my, please. Valentine tagging in his partner, Brutus Beefcake.
You need ratings points, you bring in the body.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Brutus whipping Powers into the rope. Has him now, I think, yes, that bottom rope right up against the throat.
Oh, yeah. You know, I was in New Orleans a couple weeks ago at the Super Bowl. You know who I was hanging out with, McMahon?
No, I have no idea, Jesse.
Elvira.
Elvira?
Oh, yeah. She's one of my girlfriends. Look at Big Brutus putting his spinning toe hold on.
Tags in his partner. The hammer comes in wide open now. Jim Powers is indeed just that. Oh, and a wishbone.
And it's no secret what they're setting up for here. The Hammer's classic figure four, I would believe.
Tag is made. Here comes Scott McGee. Not yet, Jesse, and maybe not at all.
Well, they were still trying for it. They didn't succeed, but I know that's what they're going for.
Nice shoulder block. Let me ask you, put you on the spot. It's pick'em time. If it's boxing Bob Orton against Mr. T, who's going to take the match?
Well, I don't know. You know, like I said, Mr. T, he's good in Hollywood because you can't get hurt in Hollywood. And he's good fighting a little puke like Sylvester Stallone, who's about 5'6", 140 pounds soaking wet.
Well, keep in mind, last year during WrestleMania, Mr. T was hardly hurt.
Hardly hurt.
He really...
Champion Hulk Hogan saved his neck, or he wouldn't even...
Almost got him. Valentine almost pinned. Tag from behind now. Powers off the rope, goes over Valentine, and runs right into Brutus Beefcake. Up in the air now. Whoa, what a power slam.
You know, sometimes, McMahon, I think Mr. T's as dumb as he looks.
Hopefully he will not hear those remarks.
Why?
Valentine. It could be trouble for you, Jess. Not just Cowboy or boxing Bob Orton. Look at that, the figure four leg lock. Yes, it's in there. And whenever he cinches it up, the party is over.
All right, there's a
good. Beautiful. Greg, super.
Oh, now, I might mention that in addition to the tag team title match emanating from Chicago as one of the 3 locations in which we will see matches on WrestleMania, also on that event in Chicago will be the Fabulous Moolah versus her opponent Velvet McIntyre, Nikolai Volkov against Kirshner, and of course the 20-man over the top rope battle royal, the first open invitational battle royal. And later on we're going to have Bill Fralick, one of the NFL stars, who's going to be involved in the battle royal with us. But right now, you said 5 minutes. Surely you jest, Mr. Valiant.
I know, Vince. Actuality, I would say the thing's going to be about 2 minutes or so, maybe beyond that, 3 minutes, something like that. Greg Valentine is in the best shape he's ever been in his whole career, professional wrestling. Of course, Brutus Beefcake, he's also, you know, look at the lovely robes on these two, the gold, the bow ties, the sequins. They're tan, they're in shape, they are ready, Vince, and I feel very, very sorry for the British Bulldogs, and I want to take just a 2-second spot here and say, Lou Albano, if you're listening, you just one time try to come inside that ring and luscious Johnny Valiant, because Lou has a habit of interfering in wrestling matches. You won't admit that, but I know that Lou Albano, isn't that right, Greg?
He gets carried away
interferes.
sometimes.
Yes, he gets carried away.
Oh, yes, Captain Lou Albano. Only I know Captain Lou Albano too well because the man managed me. That's why I got away from him, because he was such a lousy manager. He went off with this rock and roll thing with Cyndi Lauper. Now he's got the British Bulldogs. No telling what he's teaching them. One thing he is teaching them is to be sneaky. And the British Bulldogs, will tell you what, they're a mean, tough team, but we are the World Tag Team Champions. We've beaten them before. Not counting the one-time non-title match when we had the jet lag, both of us had the flu.
Right.
But now we're gonna get serious.
They had the flu.
Now me and Brutus are gonna get serious, and we're gonna hurt one of them. We're gonna hurt one of them in Chicago, and they'll never be able to wrestle again. I guarantee you that.
That's exactly right.
Well, we thank you for joining us.
We have a habit of getting rid of people. I don't know why the list goes on and goes on, but I don't want to start naming names.
So do you. We'll be back with more TNT. More TNT. As we mentioned earlier on, one of the events emanating from Chicago on WrestleMania is going to be this 20-man over the top rope, battle royal over the top rope, the process of elimination, until there's one very fortunate and perhaps very lucky individual standing there. For the first time, the World Wrestling Federation has issued an open invitation for anyone who would allow themselves entry into the battle royal other than World Wrestling Federation wrestlers. And I might add that our next guest was one of the gentlemen who very quickly said, yes, count me in. Let me read you, if I may, the participants in the Battle Royal. From Chicago Bears, Refrigerator William Perry, along with 6 foot 10 inch, 367 pounds, Big John Studd. Too Tall Jones from the Dallas Cowboys. The Iron Sheik in the Battle Royal, Russ Francis, defensive end for San Francisco now. 705 bench press record holder, Ted Arcidi. Harvey Martin, formerly with the Dallas Cowboys, former All-Pro defensive end. Wrestling's living legend, Bruno Sammartino, also in the Battle Royal. Along with the Hart Foundation, both the Anvil Jim Neidhart as well as Hitman Bret Hart. Also in there, big Jimbo Jim Covert, also from the world champion Chicago Bears, offensive tackle. Both Killer Bees will be there, Jim Brunzell, B. Brian Blair, plus 286-pound Hillbilly Jim. King Tonga at around 287. Wow. Danny Spivey at 270. Youngster at 6'9", also one of the favorites. Tony Mr. USA Atlas. Also, Canadian heavyweight champion Dino Bravo, and then the 7 foot 4 inch, 511-pound Andre the Giant. Notwithstanding, the next participant, indeed our next guest, actually, would you please welcome in offensive guard for the Atlanta Falcons, Mr. Bill Fralick. One thing I left out that I personally think is a great honor, notwithstanding everyone anticipating you being All-Pro next year, but you made the All-Madden team this year, which I think is akin to being All-Pro, if not, in my view, a little better. John Madden is something else, and to select you on his team is something else as well.
Well, it was an honor, Vince, and you know, it was a nice thing, and I thought I had it coming, and maybe after I win this Battle Royal, I'll make All-Pro for sure next year.
It won't hurt you if you win the Battle Royal, that's for sure. Some people are wondering, and we're going to take you to some footage here in just a minute, not when you think, though, Kerwin, in a director in the control room. we'd like to talk a little bit, if we can, about your entrance as well as Refrigerator William Perry, people like that coming into the Battle Royal. This is not a matchup in which a great deal of scientific wrestling knowledge is needed in terms of pinfall, in terms of submission. It's every man for himself in there, something I know you fare very well at. And it's really heaving an opponent. It's a lot of upper body strength, notwithstanding leg strength, back. It's just heaving an opponent. It's a big free-for-all. And in a moment, we're going to show you, Big John Studd. As a matter of fact, he was out here last week. And Mr. Studd...
I heard his comments. It's Dud, not Stud.
Big John Dudd it is now.
Right. And, well, I figure the only shot I ever get at him would be to come into wrestling. I don't see him busting down the doors to come to NFL training camp.
Good point.
And he's talking how he's got us out of our environment. Well, I'll show him a thing or two when we come there. Like you said, you don't need much scientific knowledge, and there's going to be 20 people in there, and I'm going to have a few friends in there along with me, and I don't think he has too many friends going into this thing.
That's a good point as well. Now let's, we'll join in progress a recent Battle Royal to give you an idea of what it is you're getting involved with and everyone else. All right, this is certainly not a battle royal of the magnitude that's going to be in Chicago, but over the top rope is a long ways down, Bill, to a concrete floor, and anything can happen. There's Studd, who was involved in this one, and you see there are 2 or 3 or 4 trying to get him over the top rope, and finally they do. They succeed.
I think he should take a few lessons from Russ Francis on skydiving coming up for the Eagle 7.
Yes.
Because I think he needs a little help there.
And, of course, a lot of chicanery and softening up can go on the inside as we see it now, notwithstanding the fact that everyone is trying to get everyone else over the top rope. There goes another man just about over. To be off balance, now, Alfred, you've been in a number of battle royals. To be up on the top rope, almost there, almost over, and when you land, I mean, you can land on your head. I mean, there's no telling what's going to happen. That has to be really a scary feeling.
It is the most dangerous. I was once out for 3 months after a battle royal. And it
Why don't you
wasn't,
come in, Alfred?
Pardon?
Why don't you join this one?
Well, if
him and the bud could come
You'll
in.
do okay without me, don't worry.
Yes.
Trying to get Jesse out of retirement there, but he shows no intention of coming in.
That's true. Jesse wants to be behind the microphone for, although I think maybe Jess would like to be in the Battle Royal, but shows no signs of really wanting to enter, I don't think.
Oh, Mr. What's he call himself? Rating points now?
Yeah, Mr. Rating Points.
We don't want to.
The
And
body.
it's very safe behind that microphone.
Doesn't want to hurt his body or whatever.
He likes to hide behind the camera, I think, now. I don't think he wants to come in anymore.
Well, I can say that you're not hiding behind anything. We congratulate you as well as some of the other NFL stars for really jumping into a situation like this. I mean, it's every man for himself, a free-for-all, and best of luck.
Well, there are not going to be any penalties called in this one. So
No penalties. You should be right at home with that.
All right.
Stay with us for more TNT. We'll be right back with the Macho Man. Back with more TNT, and before we introduce our next guest, I'd like to state that this party is going to be in New York. Is New York's entrance into the WrestleMania, rather, in terms of the location. And in New York, we're going to see Mr. Rowdy Piper versus Mr. T. 10 rounds of boxing. That's going to be a little bit different. Smoking Joe Frazier is in the corner of Mr. T, and of course Lou Duva, one of the most active men in boxing today, in the corner of Rowdy Piper. George the Animal Steele is going to be facing our next guest. Would you please welcome the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Just come real nice and slow. Just relax. You're around the champion now. Don't get nervous. I noticed you was stuttering out here.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody's nervous in the WWF, but it was inevitable all along. And I said it, and I did it, and I done it, and I'm gonna do it again and again and again.
I wonder what kind of champion George the Animal Steel would make.
What's that noise right there?
That wasn't Alfred.
What kind of a laugh is that right there now?
Alfred, that was Alfred. Alfred, shame on you. In any event. Now, George the Animal Steel has given you not just problems in terms of athletic ones. He really is, there's no secret to the fact that the Animal is obviously very much infatuated with your manager, Elizabeth.
Oh, yeah, he's got a non-existent type relationship going with Elizabeth.
A non-existent one?
Non-existent type relationship going, yeah.
That's not what we hear.
It's not what you hear, huh?
No.
You believe everything you hear, Lord Alfred Hayes?
Certainly not.
Somebody tells you something, go jump off a cliff, do you do it?
Certainly not.
No, man, that would be very bad because all of a sudden you'd be going down, 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 down. And then eventually
Macho
you gotta
Man,
hit bottom. Go ahead, yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. No problem at all. I'm only the champion. I can just
Right.
sit here, interrupt me at any time. Yeah.
We have
I'm only the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion.
We have some footage. Now there, we see... Uh-oh. Now you're on the other side, and look at this.
I didn't see this here, brother.
Is it that... I mean, Elizabeth, look at the Animal. That's one of the kindest things perhaps you'll...
What is going on?
Now, you will see what's going on right about now, I believe. Uh-oh. And look, from behind you attacked the Animal.
Right! I did it, that's right. Took him and threw him into the ring. Now, what everybody doesn't realize is that I'm getting to be an expert on flowers, yeah. In fact, I'm the leading florist in the country today. And now, the Animal gives a gift to Elizabeth, and what I want Elizabeth to find out right now is that they gotta pass the test. And you gotta bang them against a person's head before you give flowers. You gotta test them real good. Yeah, the taste test is very, very
The taste
important.
test.
Yes, the taste test. We don't want to be associated with anything second class. Ain't that right, Elizabeth, right? Did you cause that? Yeah, by taking the flowers, didn't you? You did. But that's all straightened out, and it's coming to a tragic ending in the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island. Yeah, Long Island. Yeah. You laughing out there, but come to Long Island, you ain't gonna be laughing.
Well, you weren't laughing right there, were you?
Turn my back on the jerk, and captain of a garbage truck turns the Animal loose, and look what that, look, you think that's treating a champion with respect right there? No way. No. A sneak attack from behind. You're laughing out there, don't you? Laughing at the champion. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Wrong goal, baby. Wrong goal caused by...
Sit down, Mr. Savage.
I'm
Relax.
gonna sit down after I say one thing. You pushed me, right? You pushed me. You want it to come to a tragic ending? I'm gonna destroy the Animal all in one night. Biggest wrestling spectacular of all time, and the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, with these championship hands. Yeah, I'm gonna destroy him. And it's your fault, and it's your fault, and it's all your fault out there, yeah. And the Animal ain't gonna be an animal no longer in the Nassau Coliseum on that particular night. Go ahead and ask a question.
Elizabeth, how do you feel about this matchup? Do you have any mixed emotions? I mean, obviously George Steele has a great deal of affection for you.
George Steele's a very nice man.
Yes, he is a nice man.
What the? Unbelievable. Get up right now. Get up.
No, Mr. Savage.
Get up right now.
Mr. Savage.
Yeah. You go stand right over here on this side of the desk right now where I can see you. You direct your questions right here toward me. I'm the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of the world, and I ain't gonna take that. You understand me? You understand that? Have I made myself clear? You understand that, Elizabeth?
With that in,
Nassau Coliseum in Long
with that in
Island.
mind, we'll be back with more TNT.
Yeah, you
Thank for
just
joining.
wait.
All right. Earlier on, we had as our guest Brutus Beefcake and Greg the Hammer Valentine, current World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions. We mentioned that in Chicago, as part of the extraordinary WrestleMania, they will be defending the title. And there will be 2 referees in this matchup. Would you please welcome their opponents, #1 contenders, Captain Louis Albano and the British Bulldogs. All right, Kappa.
All right, Brother Vinny. Hello, Vinny, right here. The wit and wisdom of Captain Lou Albano. Isn't that unbelievable, baby?
What is that?
There's your picture right there, Vinny, narrating during the introduction of Captain. It's a book all about Captain Lou Albano. Got all right through here. You got Frankie the Fixer, you know, from Wise Guys. All done by the World Wrestling Federation. My good friend Steve Taylor, the #1 eclectic photographer in America, won the award for this.
What kind?
Right out here, he's eclectic photographer. Look at it, Edward Sudi, genius of Captain Lou Albano, $5.95, $7.50 in Canada. How you like that? Yeah. And multiple sclerosis is going to have a donation from this book going to that ugly disease, MS. Here you go. Witness of Lou Albano. Thank you, Vinny. I want to thank the World Wrestling Federation. And there's the man that narrated it, Vince McMahon, introduction. Got it all. My Bulldogs are in here, the next champions. You want to talk about, you heard Valentine come out here with Valiant and all, they're talking about Captain Lou Albano and this and that. Well, this time, we beat him on TV. You people saw that out there, right? Right on TV. This time it's double referee in Chicago, suburban Chicago. We're ready. Title match. My champions are ready. Baby, this is the finest combined effort of all time. These are the next World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champions. I'm ready, baby. Don't give me that 15 second. Don't put that 15 second up. I'm going to talk about my 16th tag team champions. Get a look at them. They're ready, Vinny. You said enough, Vinny. Go ahead. Talk. Where's my doll, by the way? I don't see my doll out here. What's going on here? Get my doll out here.
Alfred?
Where's the doll, Alfred?
I misplaced it, but it'll be there next.
Well, then get him out here. I want to put that doll as a manager in the corner. He can't compete with them top wrestlers, but he's right there as a manager.
Mr. Albano, should you be successful in gaining the tag team title once again, this would make, what, 15?
Be number 16, 16 for the captain.
Number 16.
16 for Captain Lou Albano.
All right, well, we're going to take you now to some footage, and we'll see the British Bulldogs in action. I believe the setting is Madison Square Garden, and we will join this in progress, after which we'll come back and talk a little bit more about your acquisition of the title.
Some didn't want to hear the Soviet national anthem, as here they come, and a house of fire. Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid attacking immediately. Look out, double whip now. Nikolai and the Iron Sheik crashing together.
I didn't realize the British were so anti-Soviet, Gorilla.
They certainly took objection. Might have just been to Nikolai's singing, Jess, which is horrid in my opinion.
Horrid, he's got that beautiful tenor voice.
It's a baritone and it's not all that beautiful.
How would you know the difference between a baritone and a tenor, Gorilla?
Well, it's education, Jess. Davey Boy Smith in the ring now with the big Russian Nikolai Volkov, 305 pounds. As they stated earlier on in their interview before this match, they were really looking past the Bulldogs, Jess, and looking at Beefcake and Valentine. I think that's a mistake.
I definitely feel it's a mistake. The Bulldogs possess unbelievable teamwork, unbelievable aerial tactics. All they need to do is get real aggressive, and they could well be the champions of the world.
Oh, Iron Sheik just spat on Davey Boy Smith. No place for that in the world of professional sports. Davey Boy on the receiving end of a clothesline, down for a cover by the Iron Sheik. 1-2, no, that's all he got. Blassie screaming at the referee from the outside, slamming down for a cover again. 1 count that time, no, 2 he got on him. Quick tag made, no. Oh, rams the head first into the big boot of the Russian. Davey Boy needs to make it over to the Dynamite Kid. Get some continuity going in this match. Big smile on the face of the Russian. He's having a good time. Wow. Oh, look at that. Davey Boy right up over the top. Rolling him up here in a sunset flip. 2. Whoa, was that close. What a tremendous victory that would have been.
Well, Davey Boy needs to get over and tag Dynamite. He's been in the ring all together too long, and the Sheik and Volkov are going to take their toll on him.
There he goes, whipped hard into the corner. Here comes the big Russian. Nobody there. Jams the upper arm and shoulder, and an arm wringer applied by Davey Boy Smith. There's the tag. Dynamite going up to the top. Coming down with that double axe handle. And the Russian reeling in pain as Dynamite goes to work on it.
All right. Dynamite, you fellows obviously have your coordination, perhaps better than any of the tag team going, but surely you would grant that Valentine and Beefcake, who were our guest a little bit earlier on, have held the title maybe a little bit longer than maybe you and others have thought they were going to.
You know something, Vince? Valentine, Beefcake, right now, at this moment in time, are the best tag team champions in the world. They have the belts. Myself and Davey Boy have been working out hard. We've been in the gymnasium. We've been doing different moves, different things. We've been in there with the captain. He managed Valentine before. He knows all about Valentine. He knows all about Beefcake. We're serious, we're ready, and we believe we can do it on April 7th.
So, David, then we're going to see something, maybe something different we haven't seen before from you fellas.
Yeah, we've got a lot of things planned for WrestleMania 2, Vince. Same as Dynamite Kid said, we've been doing a lot of different things. So has Valiant and Beefcake. They've been trying to put us in single matches with them. But no, it's all going to come down right here, Vince, on WrestleMania 2.
From the heart. Now, let me ask you one question, Lou. How were you able to manage to negotiate 2 referees?
Well, 2 referees, Vince, I feel they would be much fairer that way because it's very difficult for a referee to watch everything going on in the ring. And by having 2 referees in that ring, you're able to really, well, there's Frankie the Fixer, by the way, from the Picture Wise guys.
We heard that earlier.
By watching 2 referees in the ring, you can keep an eye on things. And I'm going to have a double celebration. I've got Andre Vagina going to win the Battle Royal. That's the captain's man, you know that. And then I'm going to have the new world champions, the British Bulldogs, right out in the Chicago area. What do you think of that? All right. By the way, now, don't forget, we got that Wise Guys coming out. March 28, Wise Guys, and don't forget the captain's book here now. I'm not trying to promote anything, but look at this book. And don't forget about Chicago. Don't forget the Battle Royal and my British Bulldogs are new world champions. Johnny Valiant, look out. We're ready, they're ready. Vince is ready, Teddy, we all got it together.
Thank you very much. We'll be back with more TNT. Stay with us. All right, back with more TNT, and I guess maybe Lou Albano, if he has anything else to promote, we'll bring him out a little bit later on again, maybe. But in a moment, we have a very, very special guest for you. But before we introduce this special guest, we'd like to remind you that in Los Angeles, we will see Ricky the Dragon Steamboat squaring off against Hercules Hernandez as part of WrestleMania. Uncle Elmer meets Adrian Adonis. We'll see the Funk Brothers against Santana and the Junkyard Dog, and King Kong Bundy will be there. But right now, let's take you to some videotape footage, a music video, if you would, entitled Real American, and if there ever was one, it'll involve our next guest. Right now, let's take you to the music video.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American, fight for what's right, fight for your life. When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside,
say your prayers, eat your vitamins, be true to yourself, true to your country, be a real American.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome America's #1 real American champion, Hulk Hogan. Have a seat.
Usha, you know, the first thing I want to clear up right here before all these people at TNT were so misled, misguided by the Macho Man, is this is a Rolls Royce of title belts, brother. This is a world's heavyweight title. Anything other than this is second. And all I got to say, I would like to issue an open challenge to the Macho Man because I'd like to have that Intercontinental title hanging on my Christmas tree as a little ornament this year, you know.
Well, before we get to Christmas, the question is whether or not you'll be hanging on to this from a legitimate standpoint, whether or not you'll be hanging on to this after April 7, when in a steel cage, you meet, without a doubt, the most awesome athlete I think you have ever faced in your life, in one King Kong Bundy.
Well, you know, Vicious Vince, I had a little setback, man, and all these Hulkamaniacs checked it out on Saturday night's main event, Awful Alfred. And, you know, they saw how King Kong Bundy, with a henchman Morocco guided by Bobby Heenan, tried to steal the world title, man. Not on that night, you know, because I had Morocco right where I wanted him, but they tried to set me up, you know. This whole thing was planned a long time ago, but, you know, I've kind of recovered. I kind of still feel the pain in the lower ribs, a little soreness, but you know, you can't keep the Hulkster down, brother, because with all these Americans out there, all these Hulkamaniacs, the video, Real American, that's what it's all about, man. That's as high as you can go, and if America don't have it, I don't want it, brother. And with all those things going with me, I can't see anybody dragging me down, especially King Kong Bundy in a steel cage.
We're going to have a few words, a little bit more on that right now. We'll be back with more TNT. Stay with us. More of the Hulk. Back with the World Wrestling Federation champion Hulk Hogan, and recently there was a bi-coastal press conference involving any number of their participants in the upcoming WrestleMania event. You were in Los Angeles, and King Kong Bundy was in New York. I must say that Bundy was quite impressive, as he always is. When you see that man walk to the ring, I mean, most wrestlers, I think, would think twice about what they've signed on for. The man is awesome.
Well, you know, when you see King Kong Bundy walk to the ring, most people shaking their seats, you know. But the thing is, there's a lot of big men in the WWF, but this Bundy's got a mean streak in him, man. I saw the tombstones in his eyes when he knocked me out for the count in Phoenix, Arizona. And on the press conference the other day, he seemed a little bit too cocky to me, overconfident.
Really? Well, we have some of that footage, as a matter of fact. Let's take you now to the some of the press conference footage. We will see, first of all, King Kong Bundy. Here we go.
You know what I just did to Hulk Hogan, everybody saw. I think the man was down, the man was out. Like Vince McMahon said, they put him in the hospital. You know, that wasn't necessarily my intention to put Hulk Hogan in the hospital. What I wanted was a shot at the heavyweight championship of the world. And now that's what I've got. And you know, I didn't want to beat you, Hogan. I didn't want to beat him in front of 20 or 25,000 people. I wanted to do it in front of the world. You know, if I could take everybody back in time to last year's WrestleMania, I set the record for the fastest pin ever in the history of the World Wrestling Federation. 9 seconds, I beat the man in. And you know, it wasn't any coincidence that I picked this, you know, the greatest extravaganza in the history of professional sports to do this, and I chose the time. And now I've chose WrestleMania to become the heavyweight champion of the world. I'm 6'6", 468 pounds, and I'm the man that should be the world champion. And April 7th in Los Angeles, Hulk Hogan, what you got on that Saturday night main event in Phoenix is nothing compared to what's going to happen in that steel cage. And I'm going to come out of that steel cage the heavyweight champion of the world.
400, that's not 300, but 468 pounds. Man, is unbelievable. In a steel cage, Hulkster, you've been in there before. But in the cage with a man like this, I mean, if he avalanches you into that cage, you're going to look like hamburger.
Well, you know, the thing is, we all know what's going down in a steel cage match, man. But, you know, you just heard the guy's cheap rap, brother. He said he wanted a shot
at the world's heavyweight title a cheap shot, man. And the thing is, if it was possible to become president of, let's say, Chrysler Corporation by lying and cheating and stealing, or if it was possible to become president of the Philippines by cheating on the votes, you know, well then maybe King Kong Bundy should be the world's heavyweight champion, you know. But things don't go that way, brother. Here in America, you gotta work hard, love hard, and die hard, man. And once you got it, you gotta fight hard to keep it. So King Kong Bundy, all these little shortcuts, brother, I don't think you paid your dues. And when you talk about putting me in a steel cage with a world heavyweight title on the line, this just isn't a piece of metal here, man. This just isn't a materialistic thing. This is as great as a Statue of Liberty, man. The forefathers carved in the mountains. This represents America right here, man. We believe in this thing. All those little Hulksters out there training, saying their prayers and eating their vitamins. If I was gonna go down in that steel cage, well then I guess the whole world must be wrong, you know. This is America. This is what we all live, represent, and believe in, man. How can you be wrong when you're standing behind this thing?
You may not be. We have some footage from the press conference. Take you back. It's Hulk Hogan in Los Angeles during the same press conference. Here we go with this footage.
Comments, they were kind of short and brief. That's kind of like the way I would like the match to go, you know. But this thing has turned personal, brother. When you jumped on my back, man, when you squashed me like a grape, when I took that long, slow ride, man, in that rolling coffin, and I felt those hot lights from that ambulance in my face. They had the oxygen mask, Mean Gene, over my mug, had my forehead taped down so I couldn't move my head. They thought maybe my neck was broken. They thought maybe my back was broken. And the whole time that oxygen was on my face, I felt like I was being smothered. Not to mention, man, I have never been knocked out in professional wrestling. It wasn't like he just knocked the breath out of me or he knocked the wind out of me. For a minute and a half, brother, consciously, I knew what was going down. I heard the doctors talking. I saw the kids in Phoenix, Arizona crying and praying. I saw a police officer holding 2 kids in his arms. The kids were crying. The police officer was crying, brother. And it wasn't like it wasn't like the breath was knocked out of me. It was like he took the life out of me, man, for a minute and a half. It was like he killed Hulkamania. It was like I did see the darkness that his partner Morocco talks about. And you know something, Mean Gene? If I had to climb to that steel cage with one good limb, brother, and finish my destiny right there, I will be in that steel cage no matter what condition. And yeah, when I do try to work out now, I feel the separation of the ribs, the torn muscles, and all the other gaga, which only I'm living right now. And King Kong Bundy, all I got to say, April 7th, brother, you're the #1 contender. You say you're a giant. And that's what it's gonna take to stay with me, brother. You better be a giant and you better be ready because I'm coming after you, brother.
I think that it's certainly safe to say that King Kong Bundy will be ready. This is an opportunity of a lifetime for him.
Well, you know, it really is, Vince McMahon, because it's really crazy that the WWF would put the world title on the line in a steel cage. But, you know, they came and asked me first. I do have a little say-so about it, and I wanted it that way. And apparently King Kong Bundy, with his henchman Bobby Heenan and with his little buddy Morocco, they kind of planned for this thing. And the way it looks right now, we're gonna find if everything that I've been talking about, training, saying your prayers, eating your vitamins, helping special children, man, all these people out here trying to live it straight, man, and make a good living, we're gonna find out in that steel cage if Americana Hulk Hogan is everything he really is, or if I'm just a bunch of gaga, man. That's what it is, the bottom line. King Kong Bundy, the most dangerous man I've ever climbed in the ring with. I do have a chance of going down, Vince McMahon, but the way things look, man, with everybody on my side, I just can't see right now how it's gonna happen. I mean, being knocked out, carried out on a stretcher, all these good people here today, the world title, I got so many things going for me, man. You're really gonna see Hulkamania run wild in WrestleMania 2.
We thank you very much for joining us. Folks, we wish you the very best of luck in WrestleMania. Thanks for joining us.